Welcome, dearly beloved anointed ones. The strongest chains are not made of metal, they are made of expectation. They thought you'd chase them. They believed your heart would sprint after their chaos, that your mind would bend under their manipulation, that your peace was negotiable. But here's a fact most people don't realize. Studies show that humans who consistently guard their emotional energy are 70% more likely to achieve long-term happiness and resilience than those who constantly give it away to drama. Imagine their shock when you didn't bite, when you didn't beg, when you didn't grovel for attention or validation. Imagine their confusion as you chose silence over screaming, calm over chaos, and freedom over fixation. It's like watching a cat ignore a laser pointer, frustrating, infuriating, and entirely out of their control. This isn't just about walking away. This is about redefining the rules of engagement. It's about showing them, without saying a word, that your life, your energy, and your peace are priceless, untouchable, and entirely yours. They expected a chase. What they got instead was a revelation that peace is the ultimate power, and you are armed to the teeth. Number one, you've realized your energy is a sacred currency. You've realized your energy is a sacred currency. Every moment you spend, every emotion you invest, every ounce of attention you give has value, and it's not something to hand out recklessly. Most people go through life thinking their energy is unlimited, that they can pour themselves into people, situations, and conflicts without consequence. But the truth is, once it's spent, you can never get it back. Choosing to chase someone who drains you is like spending a fortune on a debt you can never repay. When you stop giving your energy to those who don't deserve it, you start reclaiming the part of yourself that was silently screaming for preservation. You begin to understand that your calm, your focus, your peace, and even your joy are rare resources. They are yours to invest wisely, not to gamble on someone else's chaos. Recognizing this transforms how you approach life entirely. You no longer feel compelled to fix people who refuse to fix themselves, to fight battles that don't belong to you, or to explain your worth to people who will never see it. Your attention becomes a tool, not a toy. You start measuring interactions not by drama or obligation, but by how they align with your growth, your happiness, and your clarity. Every time you walk away, instead of chasing, you send a silent message. Your energy is not for sale. It cannot be manipulated, and it cannot be wasted. You're no longer reactive to the world, you are strategic with yourself. This awareness also shifts how others perceive you. People who thrive on conflict, control, or attention suddenly realize that your energy cannot be stolen. Your refusal to chase is a shock to the system for those who depend on your engagement to validate their existence. It's like a recalibration. They expected easy access, constant approval, and a willingness to bend, and instead, they encounter a boundary so strong that it reshapes their perception of you and themselves. You become untouchable not because you are distant, but because you value yourself enough to guard what is most precious, your inner life. Understanding that your energy is sacred changes everything. It rewires how you live, how you love, and how you engage with the world. It is the ultimate act of self-respect, the clearest declaration that you are done wasting your life on people or situations that do not contribute to your peace. You stop chasing, you stop bending, and you start thriving on your own terms. That realization is not just powerful, it is transformative. Number two, detachment is a form of strength, not weakness. Detachment is a form of strength, not weakness. Most people think walking away, letting go, or stepping back is a sign of giving up or being soft, but the reality is the exact opposite. Detachment is a conscious decision to separate yourself from what does not serve your mind, heart, or soul. It takes courage to recognize that some battles aren't yours to fight, that not every conflict deserves your energy, and that your peace is far more valuable than proving a point or getting someone to see your side. Choosing detachment means you are no longer at the mercy of someone else's mood, actions, or expectations. You refuse to let their chaos dictate the rhythm of your life, and that is a power most people never develop. Being detached does not mean you don't care. It does not mean you are cold, distant, or indifferent. It means you care enough about yourself to set boundaries and honor them consistently. It means understanding that your worth is not measured by how much drama you endure or how much someone else's approval you chase. It means that no insult, manipulation, or disappointment can shake the foundation of your confidence because your center is solid and self-sustained. You've learned that engagement in unnecessary conflict is a trap, and detachment is the strategy that allows you to maintain control without confrontation. When you practice true detachment, people notice. They notice the calm in your responses, the space between their provocations and your reactions. They notice that no matter how much they try to pull you in, you remain unshaken. Detachment becomes a mirror that reflects their own instability and shows them that their usual tactics, guilt, anger, pressure, no longer work. It quietly but powerfully shifts the dynamics. You no longer participate in games designed to test your patience or manipulate your emotions. You are no longer expendable in their chaos because you have chosen yourself over the fight. Detachment also allows you to see situations clearly. Without the fog of emotion clouding your judgment, decisions come faster, priorities become sharper, and your actions carry more impact. You engage with the world from a place of choice, not compulsion, and that makes every interaction more intentional and every outcome more aligned with your growth. In truth, detachment is a declaration that you are untouchable in the way that matters most, emotionally and mentally. Walking away, stepping back, or refusing to chase is not weakness. It is mastery over your own life, and it is one of the most powerful weapons you can wield. Number 3, you refuse to normalize emotional sabotage. You refuse to normalize emotional sabotage. Over time, many people get used to being treated poorly, to excuses, to manipulation, and to the subtle ways others chip away at their confidence. It starts small. Someone dismisses your feelings, belittles your choices, or constantly tests your patience. And before you know it, you accept it as normal. Refusing to normalize it means you see the pattern for what it really is, an assault on your peace and your value. It is not acceptable, it is not harmless, and it is not something to ignore. You stop allowing people to rewrite the definition of respect and kindness to suit their convenience. This choice alone separates those who thrive from those who endlessly endure. By refusing to normalize emotional sabotage, you reclaim your personal power. You recognize that no argument, guilt trip, or toxic behavior is worth your mental currency. You start demanding the bare minimum of decency, not out of arrogance, but out of self-preservation. You understand that you are not obligated to tolerate what erodes your well-being. This refusal is a declaration that your life, your time, and your feelings are not playgrounds for someone else's insecurities. You set standards that were always yours, but often compromised, and you enforce them with consistency and clarity. Once you draw this line, even subtly, it changes everything. People who thrive on manipulation quickly realize that you are no longer an easy target. Your refusal to normalize toxicity interrupts their predictable script. They can no longer rely on excuses, passive reactions, or your willingness to absorb their instability. When you respond differently, calmly, firmly, and without chaos, they are forced to confront the truth of their own behavior. Your peace becomes a mirror that reflects their faults, their tactics, and their weaknesses in a way they cannot control. This alone can be disarming and transformative for both you and them. Refusing to normalize emotional sabotage also changes your internal narrative. You stop questioning yourself constantly, stop rationalizing their actions, and stop doubting your instincts. You begin to trust that your feelings, boundaries, and reactions are valid, and that your refusal to participate in drama is a reflection of strength, not avoidance. In practice, it is revolutionary. It rewires the way you engage with the world and with yourself. You start to operate from a place of integrity, clarity, and self-respect that is untouchable. Choosing peace over toxicity becomes not just a decision, it becomes a lifestyle, a shield, and a declaration that your life cannot and will not be defined by someone else's chaos. Number 4, your self-respect became non-negotiable. Your self-respect became non-negotiable. For far too long, People have assumed that your value depends on their validation, that your choices should conform to their expectations, and that your boundaries are suggestions rather than limits. They expected you to chase, to beg, or to compromise your principles just to make them comfortable, and they were confident you would. But choosing peace changes everything. It sends a silent, unmistakable message that your worth is not up for debate, barter, or manipulation. It establishes a boundary so clear, so firm, that it doesn't require explanation. Others feel it immediately, whether they acknowledge it or not. Making self-respect non-negotiable requires a deep internal shift. You stop measuring your actions by how they will be perceived or approved. You stop bending to avoid conflict or to secure someone else's attention. Every decision, every response, every boundary is guided by a commitment to honor yourself first. This doesn't make you rigid or cold. It makes you decisive and anchored. People may push, test, or try to guilt you into compliance, but they quickly discover that you no longer yield to pressure. Your peace is more important than proving a point or satisfying someone else's ego, and that clarity radiates in every interaction. When your self-respect becomes non-negotiable, it transforms the dynamics around you. People who once tried to manipulate you find themselves encountering resistance they cannot override. Your refusal to chase, explain excessively, or bend under pressure is a powerful statement. They cannot define you, control you, or diminish your value. It's a subtle but seismic shift. They feel the firmness of your boundaries, and it forces them to recognize the truth about their own behavior. Choosing peace over chasing is not a passive act. It is an active enforcement of self-worth. You are no longer willing to let others' insecurities dictate your actions. By holding your self-respect as non-negotiable, you create a life where your energy, your attention, and your heart are protected. This creates clarity, stability, and freedom, and it redefines how you allow the world to interact with you. Those who expected to shape you now witness the unshakable reality that your worth is absolute and your peace is sovereign. Number 5. You've discovered freedom in the absence of approval. You've discovered freedom in the absence of approval. For years, many people lived their lives tied to the expectations, judgments, and opinions of others, constantly seeking validation to feel worthy or secure. Every decision, every action, every word becomes filtered through the lens of what someone else might think or approve of. But stepping away from that need is revolutionary. No validation, no chasing, no explanations. Just the unshakable confidence that your life belongs entirely to you. You begin to realize that the only permission you need is your own, and that liberation feels sharper, deeper, and more permanent than any fleeting praise or acknowledgement ever could. When you stop seeking approval, your energy changes. You no longer operate on the emotional currency of someone else's moods or whims. You stop negotiating your peace for a moment of recognition or temporary comfort. Instead, you become fully accountable to yourself and the life you are building. Every action, every boundary, every choice comes from a place of integrity and self-alignment rather than fear of judgment. This shift rewires how you experience relationships, work, and even daily interactions. You are no longer reacting to someone else's standards, but moving according to your own truth. This freedom also recalibrates your interactions with others. People who once relied on your compliance or constant reassurance find that you are no longer available for their manipulation. They may push, provoke, or attempt to pull you back into the old patterns. But your detachment from their approval makes their efforts irrelevant. You are no longer a participant in the drama of earning affection, validation, or acceptance. Your life is guided by your own values, priorities, and goals, and that independence creates a magnetic kind of power. Living free from the need for approval is not arrogance or indifference. It is sovereignty. It allows you to focus fully on your growth, your peace, and your purpose. The unshakable confidence that comes from owning your life without explanation or justification is a fortress no one can breach. It is the ultimate form of self-respect, and the clearest statement that your energy, time, and attention will no longer be dictated by the whims of anyone else. In choosing freedom over validation, you discover a clarity and strength that changes everything about how you live, think, and move through the world. Number 6, you expose their weakness without a battle. You expose their weakness without a battle. Many people assume that power is proven through confrontation, arguments, or relentless pursuit, but true strength often shows in restraint. When you refuse to chase, when you step back instead of reacting, you force them to confront the fragility they hide behind their tactics. Their insecurity, their need for control, and their attempts to provoke a reaction suddenly become useless because you no longer participate in their game. Without a fight, without anger, without explanation, their strategies crumble simply because they rely on your engagement to have effect. Peace becomes your weapon, and it is far more effective than any verbal sparring or dramatic showdown. You don't have to prove anything or win their approval. Your calm presence alone undermines their attempts to dominate, manipulate, or belittle. They begin to realize, often with shock, that the usual levers they pull, the guilt, the pressure, the drama, no longer move you. You have removed the fuel that powers their tactics, and in doing so you reveal the weakness they try so hard to hide. The irony is that they feel defeated even though you never attacked, never chased, and never engaged in the way they expected. This approach also protects you. By refusing to participate in the battle, you maintain control of your own energy and your own narrative. You are not distracted by their chaos, and you do not give them the satisfaction of provoking a reaction. Their failure to affect you speaks louder than any confrontation ever could. You have not only preserved your peace, but you have also shifted the balance of power. They are left exposed, forced to deal with the consequences of their insecurity and manipulations without your interference. Exposing weakness without a battle is an act of mastery. It is a demonstration of self-discipline, awareness, and quiet confidence. You don't need to attack or chase to assert your strength. You simply maintain your peace and let their actions reveal the truth about them. In this way, your non-engagement is not passive. It is a calculated, silent, and devastating victory. The less you do, the more powerful you become, and the more obvious their vulnerability becomes. You prove that strength is not measured by how much you fight, but by how firmly you stand apart from the chaos others try to drag you into. Number 7, you've learned that some fires are meant to burn themselves out. You've learned that some fires are meant to burn themselves out. Not every conflict, every provocation, or every toxic situation requires your energy or intervention. Engaging with toxicity often feeds it, giving momentum to drama, manipulation, and chaos. The more you react, argue, or chase, the more the fire grows, and the harder it becomes to maintain clarity and peace. But when you step back and refuse to participate, you remove the fuel that keeps the chaos alive. Without your attention, the fire consumes only the source, leaving you untouched, unaffected, and far clearer than anyone caught in the heat of it. Walking away does not mean you are avoiding responsibility or weakness. It means you have the wisdom to recognize which battles are productive and which are destructive. Some people and situations are self-consuming. They rely on others' reactions to exist fully. By choosing peace, you watch that process unfold without being drawn in. You begin to see the patterns of toxicity clearly, the manipulations, the expectations, and the emotional traps. This clarity allows you to respond with intention in moments that truly matter, rather than reacting out of instinct or frustration. This approach also transforms how others perceive you. Those who thrive on chaos and control may initially try to pull you back in, but your absence becomes a mirror of your strength. They see that their usual tactics no longer work and that their drama cannot survive without willing participants. Your calm detachment subtly exposes their instability while protecting your mind and your energy. You remain grounded, focused, and unshaken, even as the storm rages around you. The lesson is profound. Some fires are meant to burn themselves out, and your involvement is not necessary for resolution. Choosing peace over engagement does not make you passive, it makes you strategic. It allows you to preserve your energy, maintain your clarity, and prioritize your well-being above the demands of toxicity. The chaos may roar, but you remain untouched, clear-headed, and ultimately stronger. In refusing to fuel the fire, you gain something far more valuable than winning an argument or proving a point. You gain freedom, peace, and the quiet certainty that you are untouchable by what does not serve your life. Number 8, your calm becomes their mirror of shame. Your calm becomes their mirror of shame. When you remain composed in the face of provocation, manipulation, or drama, you create a reflection they cannot ignore. Most people who thrive on chaos expect reaction. They rely on emotional responses to validate their control and power. When you refuse to provide that reaction, when you respond with steadiness instead of agitation, they are confronted with a truth they have spent years avoiding: their instability, insecurity, and toxicity. Your calm doesn't just neutralize their attempts to dominate, it exposes the cracks in their character that they desperately hide from themselves and the world. This mirror effect is subtle but devastating. They may try to rationalize your composure as indifference, arrogance, or luck, but deep down they recognize that their usual tactics, pressure, guilt, manipulation, no longer work. Every attempt to provoke you backfires, revealing more about their weaknesses than yours. Your ability to stay grounded highlights their inability to manage their own emotions, their lack of self-control, and their dependence on drama to feel powerful. Without a word, without confrontation, you force them to see the reflection they never wanted, the part of themselves that is chaotic, insecure, and ultimately responsible for their own frustration and unhappiness. Your calm also creates a space of clarity for yourself. By refusing to engage in reactive behavior, you maintain control over your mind, your energy, and your perspective. You are untouchable by their attempts to destabilize you, and in that space you operate from strength rather than reaction. Meanwhile, they are left floundering, forced to confront the truth of their own behavior while you move forward unshaken. The power of this dynamic lies in its quiet efficiency. You don't have to argue, chase, or prove a point. Your composure alone does the work. It shifts the balance of power subtly but completely, showing them that control, manipulation, and chaos have no hold over you. In staying calm, you create a mirror that reflects their shortcomings, their insecurities, and their inability to dominate you. You do not need to fight or explain. Your peace speaks volumes, and the reflection it casts is a truth they cannot escape. Number 9, you choose legacy over drama. You choose legacy over drama. Every decision you make, every action you take is a deposit into the life you are intentionally building. You understand that time, energy, and focus are not infinite, and that squandering them on chaos or people who thrive on conflict only steals from the future you are creating. Chasing them, reacting to their manipulations, or engaging in unnecessary conflict would have been an immediate expense, one that offers no return, no growth, no lasting value. Instead, choosing peace allows you to invest your energy in things that matter, in goals that endure, and in relationships and experiences that lift rather than drain. Prioritizing legacy over drama changes how you perceive the world. You stop giving attention to petty disputes, gossip, or manipulation because you see how small and fleeting those moments are compared to the life you are building. Each time you refuse to chase, each time you step back rather than engage, you reinforce a pattern of intentional living. Your actions are no longer reactionary, they are purposeful. You understand that the people who thrive on drama are often trapped in cycles that have no real impact on their own growth or yours. Engaging only prolongs the chaos and leaves your life fragmented. This mindset also sends a clear signal to others, whether they realize it or not. By refusing to participate in conflict, you demonstrate that your focus is on something greater than temporary satisfaction, control, or attention. It exposes the contrast between someone caught in endless drama and someone who is building a life with long-term meaning. Your consistency, calm, and discipline highlight their short-sightedness while silently reinforcing the value of your choices. Choosing legacy over drama is not about ignoring problems or being passive. It is about strategic self-respect. It is the understanding that your time and energy are too precious to waste on chaos that will never contribute to your growth. Every moment you spend in peace, clarity, and intention compounds, creating a life that is increasingly unshakable and impactful. In the end, you are not just avoiding conflict. You are constructing a legacy that will outlast the fleeting storms of drama, a life shaped by vision, wisdom, and an unwavering commitment to what truly matters. Number 10. You understand that emotional energy can't be reclaimed. You understand that emotional energy can't be reclaimed. Time, focus, and attention are not infinite resources, and every second spent chasing someone who doesn't value you is a second that is gone forever. Once it's given, you cannot take it back, and no apology, explanation, or drama can restore it. People who thrive on attention, conflict, or manipulation rely on others to spend that energy for them, to give life to their chaos at the expense of your own peace. By choosing not to chase, you protect your most precious resource, your emotional energy, so it can grow, compound, and work for you in ways that no one else can influence or diminish. When you recognize the true cost of emotional expenditure, you begin to see every interaction differently. You stop reacting impulsively, stop trying to prove yourself, and stop giving energy to situations that leave you drained and frustrated. Chasing someone's attention often feels urgent and necessary in the moment, but the aftermath is always depletion. You're left tired, frustrated, and sometimes questioning your own worth. Choosing peace reverses this dynamic. Every second you refuse to chase, every moment you step back adds to your inner reserve. Your energy is preserved, strengthened, and redirected toward growth, clarity, and fulfillment that no one else can touch. This understanding also changes how you relate to the world. You become strategic with your presence and your attention. You begin investing in people, projects, and experiences that return value, joy, and growth, rather than demand emotional labor without reciprocation. You realize that peace itself is a form of wealth, and that guarding your energy is a form of self-respect. Those who once counted on your engagement for their validation or control suddenly encounter a wall they cannot breach. Your refusal to chase is quiet but powerful, a statement that your energy is not a resource for exploitation. Embracing this truth transforms your life entirely. You are no longer a participant in games designed to drain and manipulate you. Instead, your energy compounds silently, building resilience, clarity, and confidence. Choosing peace over chasing becomes not just a decision, but a practice, a lifestyle, and a declaration that your time, focus, and emotional power are yours to steward, and no one else's chaos will ever touch them again. Number 11. You break the cycle of predictable conflict. You break the cycle of predictable conflict. Many toxic dynamics operate on patterns that are as familiar as they are damaging. Certain people rely on predictable reactions, anger, frustration, guilt, or desperation, to feel control and maintain power. They expect the same responses over and over because they have trained the environment around them. When you refuse to react, you disrupt that pattern entirely. Your non-participation is not passive, it is deliberate. You take away the script they've been counting on, forcing them to confront a reality they cannot manipulate or predict. By stepping outside their expectations, you reclaim control over your own emotional landscape. You no longer hand over the keys to your peace, patience, or clarity. Every unprovoked reaction you previously offered fed into the cycle, giving momentum to behaviors that eroded your calm. Now, choosing silence, composure, or simple withdrawal undermines the rhythm of their manipulation. Without your predictable engagement, their strategies collapse, and the tension they rely on loses its power. Breaking the cycle also shifts the way conflict is experienced, not just by you, but by everyone around you. Others may watch and notice the change in dynamic, the fact that drama no longer escalates as expected, that arguments stall without fuel, and that emotional blackmail fails to elicit the reaction it once did. Your refusal to chase demonstrates a level of self-discipline and awareness that is both protective and influential. It silently teaches that conflict does not need to be automatic, that power can be reclaimed without aggression, and that engagement is a choice rather than an obligation. The deeper impact is on your internal world. By refusing to participate in predictable conflict, you maintain clarity, preserve your energy, and create space for strategic decision-making. You no longer react from impulse or past conditioning. You respond, or don't respond, from alignment with your own values and priorities. In doing so, you reshape the rules of engagement entirely. Where others expected chaos, they encounter calm. Where they anticipated submission, they find boundaries. And where they once counted on emotional reactions, they are met with a silent but unmistakable strength that rewrites the game on your terms. Number 12. You elevate yourself above their toxic narrative. You elevate yourself above their toxic narrative. Toxic people often try to shape the story of your life to suit their own needs, projecting their insecurities, fears, and agendas onto you. They measure your worth through the chaos they carry, expecting you to react, justify, or adjust yourself to fit their version of reality. When you choose peace, you refuse to step inside that story. You no longer let their perspective dictate how you see yourself, how you act, or how you value your life. Instead, you assert control over your own narrative, deciding the terms, boundaries, and direction of your existence. Refusing to live inside their story changes the entire dynamic. Their words, manipulations, and attempts at control lose power because you no longer play the role they assigned. They may escalate, pressure, or provoke, hoping to elicit the predictable response that confirms their version of events. But your calm and detachment make their chaos irrelevant. You are no longer a participant in a script designed to diminish you, and that refusal is quietly revolutionary. By stepping outside their narrative, you create distance that preserves clarity, protects your energy, and allows your choices to be guided by your own truth, rather than someone else's agenda. This elevation also sends a message without confrontation. Others notice when you refuse to engage in toxic drama, when you maintain composure while those around you unravel. Your behavior becomes a contrast to the chaos, highlighting their instability and exposing the emptiness of their attempts to control or manipulate. You don't need to explain, argue, or prove yourself. Your refusal to participate speaks volumes. It demonstrates that your life, your energy, and your identity are yours alone to define, and that no one else's chaos can rewrite your story. Elevating yourself above their toxic narrative is not about arrogance or indifference. It is an act of sovereignty. It allows you to operate from a place of intentionality, focus, and self-respect. You live according to your values, goals, and truth rather than reacting to someone else's dysfunction. In choosing peace over their manufactured chaos, you claim the ultimate power, the power to write your own story, live your own life, and remain untouchable by forces that seek only to destabilize or define you. Number 13, you reveal true power. Lies in choice, not reaction. You reveal that true power lies in choice, not reaction. Most people confuse action with strength, believing that responding to every provocation, manipulation, or demand proves control or authority. The truth is that real power comes from knowing when to act and when to withhold action. By choosing peace over reaction, you assert control over your own life in a way that no argument, chase, or confrontation could achieve. Every decision to step back, remain composed, or disengage is an exercise of sovereignty, proof that you answer to no one but yourself. Peace is not passive. It is deliberate, intentional, and strategic. It is a conscious command over your attention, your emotions, and your energy. When others expect a reaction, they are relying on predictability. They are counting on your engagement to validate their actions and maintain their control. By refusing to chase, you disrupt that expectation. You show that your life and your decisions are governed by your own principles, not by someone else's chaos. This refusal is often more unsettling than confrontation, because it demonstrates a depth of self-mastery that cannot be manipulated or pressured. The assumption that you will chase is a clear underestimation of your sovereignty. People who rely on drama or manipulation believe everyone responds like they do, reacting impulsively, seeking validation, or giving away energy without thought. When you break that pattern, they are forced to confront the reality that their control is limited. Your calm, your boundaries, and your deliberate non-reaction redefine the rules of interaction. You are no longer a participant in their narrative, you are the author of your own. Choosing peace over reaction also strengthens your life in ways engagement never could. Each moment you refuse to be pulled into chaos compounds your clarity, preserves your energy, and reinforces your confidence. You demonstrate that your power does not come from confrontation but from self-command. True influence lies in this ability to act, or not act, intentionally. In this way, your choice to maintain peace becomes your most powerful statement, that your life is yours alone, your energy is sacred, and no one's expectation will ever dictate your behavior again. Number 14, you protect the sacred space inside you that they can never invade. You protect the sacred space inside you that they can never invade. Everyone carries a private inner world, your thoughts, your clarity, your sense of self, and it is the one place no one can touch unless you allow it. Toxic people often try to infiltrate that space through manipulation, guilt, drama, or provocation. But choosing peace creates a fortress that they cannot breach. Chasing them, reacting to them, or giving them your energy would have been an invitation to surrender that sanctuary. By refusing to engage, you maintain complete control over your inner life, ensuring that your mind, emotions, and spirit remain untarnished by external chaos. This sacred space is not just a mental shield, it is a foundation for every aspect of your life. When your internal world is secure, you operate from clarity rather than reaction, from strength rather than fear, and from choice rather than compulsion. Toxicity may still exist outside, people may still provoke, manipulate, or create drama, but it has no leverage over you. You have intentionally built a space where peace, resilience, and self-respect thrive, and where external attempts at disruption fail to penetrate. Every time you step back instead of chasing, you reinforce the boundaries of that space, strengthening it against intrusion. Protecting this inner sanctuary also transforms the way you engage with the world. Your decisions are guided by intention, not by the pressure of someone else's chaos. Your energy is preserved for things that matter: growth, clarity, purpose, and meaningful relationships. The people who rely on your reaction to validate themselves quickly learn that their usual tactics no longer work. Without access to your internal space, they cannot manipulate, control, or destabilize you, and their attempts to provoke only highlight your strength and composure. Guarding your sacred inner space is a radical act of self-respect and power. It ensures that your peace is never contingent on the actions of others, that your clarity remains intact, and that your resilience continues to grow even in the presence of toxicity. By refusing to chase, you are not avoiding life or responsibility. You're defending the most valuable territory you have: your mind, your heart, and your soul. In doing so, you become untouchable, unshakable, and fully sovereign over the life you are creating. In the end, choosing peace over chasing chaos is not a simple act. It is a declaration of sovereignty, self-respect, and clarity. Every step back, every refusal to engage, every boundary set is a conscious investment in your life, energy, and future. You've learned that your energy is sacred, that detachment is strength, and that emotional manipulation has no hold over you. You've discovered freedom without approval, exposed weakness without battle, and protected the inner sanctuary that no one can invade. Each choice to step away compounds your power, rewrites the rules of engagement, and demonstrates that true influence lies in intentional action, not reaction. By refusing to chase, you do far more than preserve your peace. You teach others a lesson they cannot unsee. Your calm reflects their chaos, your boundaries expose their manipulation, and your composure redefines what power truly looks like. Drama loses its grip, toxicity dissolves without resistance, and the life you are building becomes untouchable, anchored in clarity, resilience, and purpose. Choosing peace is not passive, it is a masterful strategy, a statement of worth, and a commitment to a life that aligns with your values rather than someone else's instability. Ultimately, this path transforms not only how others perceive you, but also how you see yourself. You step into a space of untouchable confidence, unshakable calm, and undeniable strength. Every second you refuse to chase, every decision to rise above chaos becomes a building block in a life defined by integrity, legacy, and freedom. You are no longer a participant in someone else's story. You are the author of your own. And in choosing peace over toxicity, you have claimed the most powerful victory of all. The victory of your mind, your heart, and your life remaining yours alone. If you found value in this message and feel empowered by choosing peace over chaos, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss content that strengthens your mind, energy, and spirit. Give this video a like if it resonated with you, drop a comment to share your experiences or insights, and share it with someone who needs this reminder today. Every action helps us build a community of people committed to clarity, strength, and unshakable peace. Your support fuels the message, and together we rise above the noise. God bless you.